Good morning, fiber friends. Welcome to another episode of the Knit, Knot, and Weave podcast. My name is Dorothy, and I am coming to you from Columbia, Maryland. This is my little corner of the YouTubes where I document and share my fibery adventures. Usually that is knitting and crocheting. Occasionally there could be some weaving, spinning, and whatever other fibery crafty adventure rabbit hole I go down. So, if this is of interest to you, go ahead and grab a cup of something to wet your whistle, grab a project to work on, and let's get started. Hello, friends. So I was supposed to record this past weekend to stay on my 2-week schedule. Unfortunately, I had people coming in and out or showing up at my house at random times on Saturday because for those of you that have been here before know that I am working on redoing my craft room. So I had a bunch of furniture that was still in good condition but was not in my plans for the new room, and instead of just it going to the dump and instead of dealing with the hassle of trying to find somebody to buy it, because we all know what kind of tight budgets we are on today, I offered it up on a couple of different Facebook groups for free for pickup for anybody who might be able to use it and saving the landfill from junk. And then Sunday, unfortunately, I had an incredible migraine. It came on around lunch, and at 2 o'clock, I unfortunately had to text my sister and tell her that I would not be going over for dinner. It was supposed to be a Super Bowl event, but neither one of us was really going to watch the game for various reasons. I did want to see the halftime show because I really wanted to see how Kendrick Lamar was going to do his show, and I was not disappointed when I saw it the next day. But anyway, I took my meds and I went to go lay down for a nap at about 2ish. I set my timer for 90 minutes, and yeah, I slept right through it and didn't wake up again until 6:30 that night. Yeah, I had a bad migraine. So, anywho, I hope you have grabbed a cup of something to drink. I have my coffee here and I have water somewhere. Always got to stay hydrated. And I'm trying to squeeze this in so that I could stay on my 2-week schedule and get it out to you before I go away this weekend. But let's move on. So if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me again. And if you are a new viewer, welcome to the crazy. If you would, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. So now I'm just going to share what I am currently wearing. This is the, sorry, I have it up on my computer. Get Your Fade On by Suzanne Somers. It is a brioche shawl I made about 5 years ago. Actually, I finished it 5 years ago, almost to the day, January 10th. So this was made with four different skeins of hedgehog fiber singles. The only one that has a name is this pink one, and it was the, which one is it? Sorry Not Sorry. And the other three were what she calls her mistake skeins, her potluck skeins that I had found at a shop a number of years ago. But anyway, I have two finished objects to share with you. 2 works in progresses that I'm going to share with you that I've made a significant amount of progress. Ooh, I can't speak this morning. And one is brand new. And then I have 4 books to share with you, and then life updates. So without further ado, let me get my finished objects to share. So first up is the tulip stitch blanket that I was almost done with last episode, but I wanted to use up the rest of the yarn that was in the skein because there was almost half a skein left, or half a cake left. This is the tulip stitch blanket. I just did the I can speak. The tulip stitch. That's a crochet stitch. I really cannot talk this morning. Crochet stitch, and I just used it in a blanket. So here it is, and I used Karen Big Cakes in the colorway. What colorway did I use? I did not write it down. I want to say I think it was Cherry Cake. But anyway, it's a beautiful sized blanket. It's a perfect throw. And you can see that I did a linen stitch border all the way around. And I think it was just like the perfect, because the skein changes colors on its own. It really did a nice job with the linen stitch on the border. Excuse the hair that gets caught in the, when you're, and I still can't get it, when you're crafting. There we go. It is all finished. I'm very, very pleased with it. It's going to my girlfriend, Belinda I think she's going to love it. She saw me posting this. It was going to just be a lapghan that I was going to donate to a senior center or something. And she commented that she really liked it, so I told her that she could have it for the cost of the yarn. And what else? Oh, halfway through making it, I found 2 more skeins, and so I was able to turn it into a full-size throw for her. So I am very pleased that this is finished. I used a 5mm crochet hook for this stitch, and for this yarn it's the USH hook. And all this needs now is just a good washing, and it will soften up this Karen yarn even softer. So I really hope Belinda is going to like this and that she will get great use out of this in her home. Moving on. We now have one of, I think this is probably my second oldest UFO. I started this blanket, I think it was 11 years ago. It is the Slip Stitch Sampler Throw. It is on the Lion Brand website. So it's from Lion Brand. I used a good number of different colors from the Cascade Superwash 220 line. And I made 4 different squares when I gave up on it. It's supposed to be a 6 square blanket, but my squares were coming out to be 24 inches wide. Actually, I think it's bigger than that. I think it was 30 or 36 inches wide, or square, I should say, not wide. But I did 4, and then I think I just got tired of it, and I put it down. And I had meant to block them and just give them to my niece when she was younger to use as, I don't know, maybe little throws for playing with her dolls or her stuffed animals or whatnot. But she is now turning 10, and I don't think she really plays in that manner with her dolls and her stuffed animals anymore. But for those of you that did not watch my last episode, I had a high school friend contact me. She is going through a very, very tough health issue right now. She unfortunately has been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And she saw the posts that I had done. I posted on Facebook of all the Christmas gifts that I'd done and the 2 blankets that were gifts. And she contacted me asking for a blanket or a hat. And, she was willing to pay. Of course, she's not going to pay. I have not told her that yet. But she can pay it forward in a donation of some sort. Anywho, so I went through my stash of projects to see if I had a blanket already made that I could send her when I found these. And I thought, what better way to put together these 4 squares than to give them to somebody. So that's what I did. When I originally started making this square, I had, I think it was 4 skeins of this taupe color, because that was my original plan to use to crochet them together. I believe in the pattern, what was I saying? I believe in the pattern, the squares are sewn together. There's no crocheting in it at all. I decided to change that, and I did a crocheted border around each one of the squares in different colors that matched whatever was in the square at the time. And then I used that to crochet them all together. I did a simple back to back, and then I crocheted a slip stitch all the way down through the back loops of each of the squares. And then I did a crochet. So I did let me back up for a minute. Sorry, I'm all over the place this morning. The sample squares were knitted on a 5mm needle, a US 8. So I used a 5mm crochet hook to do the crochets, the single crochet all the way around each square. And then at first I couldn't find this taupe, and I had purchased a gray to use, and I had trimmed out, I'm losing my mind this morning. I had trimmed out each of the squares in the gray, and I didn't like it. It was just a bit too, I guess it was a little too cold compared to all the warmer colors that are in this throw. So as I was cleaning out my craft room upstairs, I happened to find the taupe that I originally purchased. So I took out all the gray, and because I noticed the gray was kind of giving it a little waves, I went down a crochet hook. I went down to a 4.5mm crochet hook, which should have been a G. And I crocheted, single crocheted all the way around each square. And then I joined them together using the slip stitch. And then I did a border all the way around of a double crochet. Let me see. Yes, a double crochet, and then I edged it with the crab stitch. I just think the crab stitch is such a pretty edging. It almost looks like a picot edge without all the trouble. So this just needs a good blocking as well. And then this will be sent off to my girlfriend. And if you are someone who prays, I don't care what God you pray to, just pray that my friend makes it through this, because I'm tired of losing friends. I'm at that stage in life where things happen to a lot of people around me. You ever notice how when you're growing up, you're not as aware of it? Like, I guess because it's always like the older people, you never think about it, and then one day you are the old people. I mean, granted, 54 is not old, but I do have, some friends that are older, some that are younger, some that are obviously my age, and things are happening. The world is changing. But anyway, my second oldest whip is finished. So I will move on to my works in progress. Now, I only have two because those are the two that I have made the most significant progress on. I have worked a little on the sleeves on my mother's sweater, but until I actually get down to the body or finish off the sweaters, it doesn't seem worth it to share it with you guys and talk all about it again. It's my little coffee mug. It's a little cat knitting on top of a sheep. My friend Joan gave this to me a number of years ago as a Christmas gift. Actually, I can't remember if it was a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. Joan, do you remember? Anywho. So, I have two more blankets to share with you guys. It has been very cold here, and I've just been on a blanket kick. I think I have just wanted to finish off some blankets because I have lots of ideas for new blankets I want to cast on. And I have to cast on one blanket for my niece because I told her she'd be getting a blanket for Christmas this year since they redid her room. And then I have a couple of other blankets that I just want to cast on. So anywho, this is a new cast on. It is another tulip stitch blanket. I had so much fun, I had so much fun with this stitch with the other blanket that I immediately started another one. So this is yarn that I've had in my stash for quite a while. And then I acquired 4 more skeins from a friend of mine who was moving and destashing a bunch of yarn. And this is, what's it called? Studio Classic by Nicole. This used to be the AC Moore line of yarn, and unfortunately AC Moore closed in the States. This color, let me see, does it have a colorway name? Lilac Marl. And for this one, I am using my Boyd hook, and I'm using the 5.25, the USI hook, because this yarn is just a bit thicker than the Karen Cake. But I love how this is turning out. I love the way it marls. I love the stripes that it's making. It's actually, I think it's maybe slightly wider than the first crochet tulip stitch blanket I made. For those of you that crochet, I always use these. I hate covering my mouth, I'm sorry. When I'm crocheting and I stop, I always use these locking stitch markers to put in the last loop so that I never lose my stitch. And I am just enjoying this stitch so much. I don't know if I have ever enjoyed, well, I did enjoy doing the granny stripe, and I do like the linen stitch. I don't know what it is about crocheted blankets. And surprisingly, this one is fairly light compared to my crochet stitch one here and the linen stitch, my Franken blanket, which I'm not sharing today either because I've only put like maybe an inch of work into that these past few weeks. So here is another one. And if you don't know the tulip stitch, I highly suggest you give it a try. It's kind of like the granny stitch. It's the 3 stitches, the 3 double crochet stitches, but as you could see, it kind of crisscrosses and does somewhat of a herringbone pattern. Actually, it almost looks like mini entrelac, truthfully, especially with this yarn. So I'm having a blast with this stitch. I don't know what it is about this stitch, but I feel like I could just cruise along on it. Unfortunately, I cannot crochet without looking. I wish I could. I have seen people on the TikToks and on the Instagram reels that can talk to you like this and crochet away like Jonah Hands and a couple of others. I can't. I have tried many times and I always wind up losing a stitch or dropping a stitch, and not that it's a big deal in crochet, but sorry, hearing some funny noises outside. What was I saying? Not that it's difficult when you drop a stitch in crochet because it doesn't run like it does in knitting, but I am having a lot of fun with this stitch. I don't know what it is, but I highly recommend it if you are a crocheter and you enjoy crocheting blankets. Oops, got all this yarn all over the place. And then the last one I'm going to share with you guys. Wow, I'm going super quick today, aren't I? I think it's because I have places to be and I'm late and I need to edit this quickly so that I can get it up for you guys so that I can stay on my 2-week schedule, because I swore to myself this year I was going to keep to that schedule. Okay. So next up is the Jelly Roll Blanket by Kay Jones, right? Ooh, the recycle people are here. What was I saying? Yes, the Jelly Roll Blanket by Kay Jones. I am using a bunch of scraps, occasionally a couple of minis, and I am not color choosing in any way. I'm just sort of putting my hand, oh geez, did they just crash? I hope you didn't hear that. I am just putting my hands in the bags and pulling out a couple of different skeins or little mini balls and just sort of going to town. About the only thing I try to avoid if I pull colors is putting too many dark colors or too many light colors in a column. I'm sort of trying to just sort of make it go light and dark or light and medium dark, whatever, and trying not to put too many variegateds together. I'm trying to break it up with solids, but again, not always. As you could see, there are several different togethers, but as long as they're light and dark. Oh, that actually kind of looks cool on the camera. So these are all leftovers that I have. I have a huge tub up in my craft room full of all of my leftovers. And then as I have been making my scrap blankets, I went through all that big scrap bin and I separated them out. So I have a little shoebox of everything that is, I think, under 5 grams, anything from like 12 inches to 5 grams, because I do have a plan for yet another scrappy blanket. And then I have another shoebox bin of 5 to 10 grams of leftovers, and then the whatever's left in the big box is anything that is 10 grams or more. Do I have a 10 to 20? No, I think that's it. I have under 5 grams, anything over 5 grams to 10 grams, and then 10 grams or more is still in the big. I may wind up, as I'm working on my craft room later on, I may wind up splitting them up and doing a 10 to 20 gram one later on. But anywho, so I have a, okay, there's my project saver. So that's where I was the last time I shared it with you guys. So I have managed to add on, let me get out of the way here so you guys can still see. So here's one. So I managed to finish this column all the way up. And then I have added 2 more columns. So there's the progress keeper. So I finished this column and I've added 2 more columns. And I am on my 3rd column here. And these are my lovely needle toppers. I am using my Signature double points. Unfortunately, Signature has closed its doors forever. I'm so sad. I wish I had managed to buy more. These are the 2.75 millimeters, which is a US, I may not be able to even read that, a US 2. So I have a set of 4 and I bought these. I wish I had thought to buy the pairs that had the ends, but I never got around to it. I had bought the double points for socks years ago, and so I bought these little tulip needle toppers when I started this blanket, and those are acting as my little end. And then I have my other ones to actually keep my work on the needles. And so when I finish, I just sort of stick my needle in there, the working needle in there. And if I had any leftover, like this is the end of the ball, but if I had any leftovers, I would have just done this. So here's my needle. I would just stick the ball on here so it doesn't go rolling around all over the place. And oh, look, there's more hair. And then I would put my stopper on, and that prevents the ball from unwinding and making a mess in my bag. That's the next one I'll be adding on. When I started this blanket, I was not thrilled with the stitch that was coming up on the front. So I have decided to join mine in the back. I used the same method and I borrowed it from Stephen West, the way he joins colors on his Vertices Unite. And I think I have that modification on my project page. I do plan to make a second one of these. Probably not in fingering weight, probably in DK or fingering held double. And I I'm going to use Kayla Litton, the crazy sock lady, her method for joining, and then I will have those joining lines on the front because I do like the way hers is turning out. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 columns so far. So this is, if I'm remembering correctly, each column is 4 inches across. So that's 36 inches across. And this is probably just going to be a throw. So maybe another 36. So 3 more columns, I think. And then the applied I-cord edging, right? So it's 36, 4, 8, 12, 48. So that would be 48 inches wide. Maybe 4 more rows. I like my blankets a little bit bigger. And this is probably 60 to 70 inches long. So here's what it looks like on the back. So you can see here's where I added the new lines. So you can see in the garter stitch how it looks. But here's the attached line in the back, which actually is not, this wouldn't have been too bad to have on the front, but anywho, I am going to try the way Kay has it done because I like how I think her little joining areas will show, like, if if I'm remembering this correctly. Let me see if here we go. So here's like a purple and a brown, but her edging in the, not her edging, but the way she joins, it's almost opposite. So this light brown would show up on this side on the purple, and then this dark purple would show up over here on the tan side. So I thought that was a neat look. So I think that's what I'm going to do for my second Jelly Roll blanket. I had to think there for a minute about what the pattern name was. Oh, my brain does not like to work in the morning. And then, oh, here's something. I forgot I had this. So here is one more whip I will share with you. I think I shared. Oh, and then at the, I'm sorry, I'm flopping back to the Jelly Roll blanket. At the top, I did not bind off. I have the top row on a barber cord, which I'm probably going to need to get a second barber cord for the next couple because these are already a little too squished. But I figured this would be easy because then I'd be able to just slip these all onto a needle when I decide what color I'm going to do the bind off, and then pick up all the way around to do the applied I-cord edging. Blah. Too much of a mouthful this early in the morning. So I am slowly working through all of my fingering scraps. And then some. So my last whip that I'm going to share with you guys, I had started a while ago. I am mimicking somebody else's work. I want to say maybe it was 2 years ago. I was watching Sandra Paul's Cherry Heart podcast, and she was working on this. And I thought it was, first of all, I thought she was crazy because it was so small. And I didn't know where she was going with it. But when she finished it and she wore it to show it off, I really, really liked it. And I will insert a picture up here. It was a top that she made. She said she had seen this top. I think it was a TV show. I don't remember. But I was hoping she would put the pattern out for it, but Sandra Paul doesn't like to put out sweater patterns because of sizing and all of that stuff. She prefers shawls and blankets because you don't really need to size for people's bodies. But anyway, I saw it and I really, really liked it. So I am in the process of making a summer top. So any of my minis that are like fairly light in color, I am setting aside because I am crocheting. And I know I have more of these. I guess not. All these little tiny round pieces that will then get connected and made into a top that I can wear over a tank top or over a sleeveless t-shirt. And that will be a very, very slow going process. I am using my Furls Crochet hook in the size C, which is, what is size C? 2.75. And that's what I'm using for those little things. So that is going to be a long-term project as well. And that is all I have for you in regards to what I have been working on. Like I said, I have made some progress on my mom's sweater. I'm almost done with the sleeves, but it wasn't enough to really share. And I did maybe a few more rows on my Franken blanket and nothing significant to share out. But I have no acquisitions this week. Yay me. But I do have 4 books to share with you that I've read. So the first one is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. This was a very interesting alternative dimension type of story. There is a young female who is in a home, sort of. She has no parents, and she always thought she had family out there, when one day the home that she was in receives a letter from supposedly an uncle that says, oh, I've been sending out these letters to all different homes around the country. We really need you to come home. You need to be home. We want you home, blah, 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 blah. So the girl goes home. I am really bad with names, guys. Even people that I meet, I can recognize faces. I don't care how long it's been since I've seen you. I will recognize your face, but your name, for the life of me, I don't remember names. But anyway, so the girl goes home, and it's this beautiful, beautiful big house, and she has a diary of her mother's that she reads over and over and over. And the one thing that always comes up in the diary is the mother tells her, as long as she stays away from Gallant, then she'll be fine. The girl always thought that Gallant was a person. Turns out Gallant is the name of the estate. And so when she arrives at the estate, there's only 3 people there. There is a female housekeeper, a male like groundskeeper and cook, and then her cousin. And her cousin is very, very upset because he didn't know about her. He thought he was the last one, and he'd be able to just finish off what is happening there. And there is, at the edge of the property, there is a half wall, and it doesn't even go all the way around the property. But somehow, when you cross over, you see another Gallant, but it's in an alternate universe. It's a very broken down, decrepit, and there's the feeling of evil over there. And that's all I'm going to say on that book, but I thought it was a pretty good read. Then I read My Darling Dreadful Things by Johanna van Veen. This is, I guess for lack of better terms, it's a ghost story. A young girl sees a spirit. The spirit is sort of attached to her. She sees her. She sees them. She sees other spirits. But this particular one goes with her everywhere. Nobody else really sees it. She always thinks she's different until one day when she's older, she meets a woman who is in the same field, except her spirit guide is a male. But they become friends, and things happen. Interesting read, interesting take how ghosts appear, and a good read. So those two would probably be good reads in October. Then I read The Change by Kirsten Miller. Now, The Change is more of a witch tale. It basically involves 3 women that are in a subdivision. One, I guess she would be a green witch. She's an earth witch. She works a lot with the plants and organisms like that, and there is another woman who hears the spirits. And then the third woman, Jo, she is like I don't know how to explain her. She's like a rage witch. She can create, like, when she's very, very angry, the anger builds up and she could do damage to somebody with that anger. And I think her name was Mimi, is the one that hears the spirits. Usually it's women who have been wronged and they can't pass over into the afterlife because they need her to witness their death. And she figures out that these three women are supposed to work together to clear out and aid with these people, with these women who have been wronged. I really like that one. I'm a big witchy person anyway. And then the last one is Blood Guard by Cece Robson. This is a cross between, I guess you could say the Roman Colosseum and the games, the gladiator games that went on there, and fantasy, because you have elves and trolls and ogres in there. And instead of being a Roman champion, when you enter these games and you make it through all the levels and obviously survive all the levels, you become what is known as the Blood Guard. And those in the arena are always chanting, "Blood Guard, Blood Guard." And it turns out that there is a female elf that is a princess, and something happened, and her father was thrown in jail because they believe the father killed the princess's grandmother, who was the queen of the area, and her uncle has stepped in to be regent. But as the story goes on, it seems like the uncle is trying to sabotage all her plans for marriage in order for her to marry his son so that he can sort of retain power in the realm. Of course, I'm not going any further because you should read the book yourself. And I am currently in the middle of reading two books. One is Remarkably Something Creatures. And it's all about, right now it's all about an octopus that is in captivity, a woman who cleans up the aquarium, and in the evening, she's an elderly woman, but she goes and she cleans the aquariums in the evenings. There are two other minor characters that are talked about throughout this book. And then the one that I read at night before going to bed is a vampire romance. I'm not a big romance person, but it was a gift. It was a Christmas gift, and it was All I Want for Christmas is a Vampire, or something kooky like that. So it's, it's a vampire romance. Nothing special, but I read chapter 2 before I knock out for the night. So that is all I have for you in regards to reading. As for life updates, I know some of you are only here for the knitting. Some of you may be here for the knitting and the books. If you are done and you want to leave, you are more than welcome to. I hope you have a wonderful 2 weeks, and I will see you again. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you head out to the next video. And if you are here to hear about what has been going on in my life the last 2 weeks, let's move forward. So as you know, I've been waiting for an IKEA shipment. That has been such the debacle. Oh my word. So as you know, last time, my last podcast episode, I was waiting for a shipment, and it should have been delivered, and that would have been the end of it. But no. Turns out that I ordered on January 9th. I had chosen a delivery date for January 20th because I knew I would be home from work that day and I'd be able to, pull everything inside. Of course, the 20th came and went because we had because we had bad weather. I knew ahead of time that the delivery wasn't happening, but then I never heard back from them as to when the delivery was rescheduled for. And then one day I went out to IKEA, I looked at my order, and it said on the way. So I thought, okay, well, it must be coming today. So I come home and I wait and no delivery. So I call IKEA. They redid the order for me. He sent me the invoice showing that I was not charged and it was supposed to come. A couple of days go by, I hear nothing. I look online at the delivery site. It says the order's been canceled by IKEA. I'm like, what is going on? Call IKEA. Turns out that he should not have put in a new order. He should have just redone the delivery date. Needless to say, it finally got delivered. The day that order gets delivered, I couldn't have been happier. I started in that room and I started getting rid of the furniture. So in total, out of that room, I've given away a cat perch, a desk chair, the desk that was in there, finally got rid of the chaise lounge that was in there, several other items that I didn't need anymore. As I was packing up the room, I would put things aside that either were to be donated or given away. And I would always post things up on these Facebook groups, whether it was Facebook Marketplace or we have a group here. It's called Buy Nothing and it's by our local areas. So mine is obviously Buy Nothing Columbia. And you put things up there that you want to give away to any of the neighbors in the neighborhood if they desire them, or you could even put up an ask like, hey, I'm looking for, if anybody's getting rid of, I don't know, side tables, I could use them, or my daughter could use them. She's starting a new apartment or whatever. So I've gotten rid of all of those. I have packed up most of the items that were in that room so that they can be moved out into my bedroom so that I can start in that craft room with a clean slate. So I have no plans of painting the room. I'm not going that crazy, but once everything gets removed, I will be wiping down the walls, giving the carpet a really good vacuum, and then I'm going to start building the shelves that I bought from IKEA. So I am super happy that that project is moving along nicely. What else can I share? Work has been crazy. We are in the midst of WIDA access testing, which is the testing that gets done with all the ESOL kids and to determine where they are on the language scale for English, I guess. I think that's how it works. And then we had a coffee house that was scheduled for today, or I'm sorry, for Friday of this week, but that's going to get moved to next week because of the WIDA testing. But the coffee house is where our students share their talents, be it if they write poetry, if they sing, slam poetry, anything like that. And they have different themes for the different months that they host it. And this is all connected to our literary magazine that the kids put together. This is their way of sharing their talents, and it's hosted in the wintertime. It's hosted in the media center during lunch. We enjoy it very much because we enjoy seeing the talent of our kids, and I especially love it that so many of the student body come to watch and support their fellow classmates. I think that to me is the best part. I've not been doing so well with going to the gym. I have been having my ups and downs with my depression and anxiety. For those of you that are new, I have been dealing with depression and anxiety for a number of years, and just within the last year, I've also been diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm learning all about that and how different it is in men and women, or in boys and girls, or however you want to break it up. And I suspect that it's I think there are even changes when a female goes through menopause, because things that I've noticed that were a minor issue, like in looking back at what things are an ADHD tendency that I've been doing all my life, I didn't realize it was ADHD. Some of these things have definitely gotten drastically worse since I have gone through menopause. Fun things, more fun things for us women. And it's annoying. I don't know how else to put it. Our brains are so different from men, and the medical field is so far behind in regards to how things are for women as compared to men, because not a whole lot of studies have been done because of our monthly cycles and hormones and things that scientists have preferred more stable variables. I don't know what would more stable subjects. That's what I'm thinking about. Anywho, so it has been a struggle to go through this. I'm not going through it. I have this, but it's been a struggle to learn about it and to figure out how to deal with it, basically. But it is a learning process. I'm not dead, so I am still learning. On what has been bringing me joy lately, sunny days like this. I feel like we have had so much doom and gloom type weather lately that when I walked out of work yesterday and it was bright and sunny, even though it was chilly, I was ecstatic. I definitely feel like seasonal depression is also part of what's been, for lack of better words, getting me down. Like after work, I don't feel like working out. I have not been good with making my dinners at night. I did manage to get a few meals cooked on weekends, and the extras are in my freezer, so at least I have had those to fall back on. But definitely my nutritious meals have not been as forthcoming as they should be. So that is an aspect I still need to work on. And lastly, I am very, very much looking forward to this weekend. It is our girls' weekend. There's a group of us that have been getting away President's Day weekend now in February for, probably 10 or more years now. We used to do it in April, and then, I don't know, somehow we just wound up with President's Day weekend, and I think that's because we have that extra holiday, so we can stay an extra day. I mean, come on. A 2-day knitting weekend with girlfriends or a 3-day knitting weekend with girlfriends? I'm going to take the 3-day knitting weekend with girlfriends. So I'm really looking forward to it. It is in the mountains of Maryland. It's in the Blue Mountains. It's right across the Potomac River, or it's right near the Potomac River. Right across the Potomac River happens to be Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Right? Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. We go up Friday and we stay until Monday. It is a lovely, lovely home. It is a home that has been basically turned into not an Airbnb, but it's not like most retreat centers that we've been to in the past. It is definitely a home. There is a full kitchen that we have access to. We can cook our meals, or we can have the host who lives just down the driveway further back on the property. She is a wonderful, wonderful cook, and she cooks gluten-free, she cooks healthy, she cooks organic, and we usually have her cook our dinners for us. It is just simpler that way, and we enjoy it. So we are looking forward to a wonderfully relaxing weekend. I'm hoping it'll be chilly enough so that we can get the fireplace going. I am planning to bring my Franken blanket, my mom's top. I'm probably going to bring the Jelly Roll blanket, and I am hoping to get all 3 of those finished this weekend. I know, I think part of ADHD is also thinking that time is way more expansive than it really is, because every time we go on these retreats, whether it be the fall retreat for the whole knitting group or this girls' weekend that we have in February, I always think I can work and finish more objects than is probably really possible in a weekend. But does that ever make me bring less? No, of course not. So on that note, I am going to say goodbye. I hope you are all having a wonderful, wonderful beginning to your February. I hope your magic hands are creating and bringing you joy in your making. And I will see you again in 2 weeks. So don't forget, if you have enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button, share, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, all that YouTube-y stuff. I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know what you are working on currently. And that is all I have. So, ciao, ciao for now. Enjoy. Love you guys.